I have to protect myself. I'm sorry.
Why do you have a mask on?
Well, because of the energy. Like, I don't know if you've been vaxxed or. I'm just kidding.
Can the virus travel through the computer now? Is that what's going on?
I don't know. So Newsom is opening things up, but we have to still wear masks.
Well, then he's not really opening things up. It's all a farce. It's all a farce because he's going to get recalled.
He's going to get recalled and be replaced by Caitlyn Jenner. Is that what's happening?
Well, I mean, I don't know. We're going to have to psychic that and see what's going on. But Jesus, Joshua, like that's freaked me out. What the hell was that?
Well, I did get, because I have to go when I go to the gym, I have to wear them. But what's cool is that the CVS near my gym, they have these different colors. Like, this is like a, I don't know. I like the color of it. It's like, what is it? Is it a purple or a periwinkle or something?
How can you wear those?
I mean, it's really annoying. But actually today, I realized for whatever reason, like I actually forgot that I had it on, which is probably not a good thing. But I was able to work out my whole time there without even like taking it down.
You work out with the mask on?
Well, you have to, or
F that.
Yeah, you have to, Jim. Yeah. Well, I told you what happened when
you almost got yelled at by a lady.
I did get yelled at by a lady. I was on the treadmill and there was nobody around me because I am respectful for people that are worried about it, but there was nobody around me, right?
Yeah.
And I took my mask off when I'm running because it's healthy and to oxygenate your body. And this woman gave me this dirty look. And as she's like walking, she keeps giving me this dirty look, and then she falls down the stairs.
It serves her right. That's karma in action. I love watching karma like right in front of me. It's like the best thing in the world.
Yeah, it was like an instant karma, I think. Yeah, it was cool.
Mm-hmm. Well, welcome to Nothing Remotely Controversial, which apparently is going to be we've got some very controversial topics to talk about tonight, Joshua.
We do?
We do.
Okay. All right. Well, we'll handle it. We're pros.
Well, this is a show that Joshua and I do every Tuesday night at 9:30 p.m. where we talk about really news and whatever going on in the world and whatever I want to talk about. And Joshua, who is a professional psychic, uses his psychic powers to help us peer beneath the surface and really discern what is going on in the world. But tonight, guys, we get to start off with something special. We get to start off with questions that Joshua has, because
notes with my purple pen.
Yes, you can take. I think you're going to have to take notes with your purple pen because. So Joshua, for those of you who don't know, or maybe you haven't followed along, Joshua does not watch the news. He does not go on Twitter. He does not do any of this stuff. Partially because he is a sane human being. Because what sane human being would want to go on Twitter on a daily basis and spend all day on there? I just don't know. So he like legitimately does not know what's going on in the world a lot of times. He gets a lot of his news from me, right? Mm-hmm. So Joshua texted me about an hour ago, and he was like, "Hey God, I gotta share the screen." He was like, "What the hell is this?" Essentially. Talking about this asexual, aromantic thing, because apparently Joshua told me it is International Asexual Day.
Mm-hmm. That I'm pretty sure about. Yeah, it was trending.
It was trending. So it's International Asexual Day. So we have to pay attention. We have to celebrate asexuality for reasons I have no idea why. But Joshua showed me this chart, which is like aromantic does not equal asexual. And I just did a video about how I don't believe aromanticism is a real thing like a couple of weeks ago. So I'm like ready to go. So, okay, here's what I think. Asexuality, and I'm not going based on this chart because this is an SJW chart. I'm just going to talk to what I think about these concepts. Asexuality, I believe, is a real thing. It's like when people don't like, sex, essentially. Doesn't have sexual attraction or don't like sex or any of those things. I'm fine with that. Aromanticism is a new label that I only started hearing about like a month ago. And basically it's people who don't like romance and they felt the need to categorize it and put a label on it as if it's a disability so that they can get virtue points. But I don't believe that aromanticism is a real thing. If you don't like candlelight dinners, that doesn't mean you needed to have a label for not liking candlelight dinners. It just makes no sense to me. Joshua, what do you think?
Or long walks on the beach.
Yeah.
I mean, are we absolutely sure that that's what they mean by aromantic?
Well, what does it say? It says, is aromantic no romantic attraction, but may experience sexual attraction. Asexual equals no sexual attraction, but may experience romantic attraction. And aromantic and asexual have no attraction either way.
So let's see romance, because, okay, so romance, if we define romance by Google standards, it's a feeling of excitement and mystery associated with love.
I don't think this is a real thing. I don't think it is a real thing that human beings can't fall in love with another human being. I just Dragon Water says aromanticism has been around for several years. I mean, maybe. I just don't believe that this is a real thing. I'm sorry. I don't.
So they're sexually attracted, but there's no feeling of excitement and mystery associated with love. So it's sex. They're sexually. They can be sexually attracted to somebody, but they are not romantically, meaning there's no excitement and no sense of mystery.
I don't believe this is a real thing. Human beings, what do you always say? Like, things either come from love or fear. Like you know, it is our natural state to love, right? And right. I don't buy into this idea that a human being is completely incapable of love.
Right.
That's really what it is.
Yeah. It's really interesting. So does this mean, though, by the definition, like, so a lot of guys, for instance, they might love sex, but they don't love the idea of candlelight dinners or bringing their girlfriend roses? Or does that mean that they're aromantic?
I have no effing idea. Or is it just mean that like you haven't met the right person? Or I could also see an instance where like if someone doesn't have high self-esteem, then they don't feel like they're worthy of love. I can understand how they might believe that they're aromantic, because it's like they don't see themselves as being worthy in that situation. So why would they experience it?
Yeah, it's really interesting. Well, I mean, my philosophy with all of this is that like we constantly are making the decision about who we are. I am, and then we fill in the blank. So I guess conceivably you could say I am aromantic and then take actions based upon being aromantic or asexual, etc. Like you're constantly defining yourself. And that's the problem, I think, with labels in general, is that we're constantly evolving and changing, and to pin a label on ourselves or on anybody else is really limiting, because then it's like expectations are set up and you don't really have that freedom to be sort of like, well, I was aromantic, but now I want to go, for a moonlit walk on the beach or something like that. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah. But I mean, again, to me, I feel like this is more a reflection of their self-image rather than are they capable of romantic love. I think if someone has low self-esteem and they don't believe that they are worthy of being loved by another human being, they can absolutely close themselves off to even wanting to experience such a thing. It would be very, very uncomfortable. If you don't feel like you're worthy of love, then that would be an extremely uncomfortable feeling, to be like loved by someone else.
Right. Oh, that's really true. And I think that happens quite a bit, Yeah. It's fascinating. It is
fascinating. Well, Dragon Water says, I am He-Man. I don't know what that means, Dragon Water, but okay. But that's not the only thing we're educating Joshua about tonight, because we also have to have a conversation about hang on, about super straight, which is another thing that Joshua was texting me about over the weekend, where apparently you discovered that you're supposed to be like, people are required to want to sleep with trans people now, regardless of if it's your preference.
Oh, I see. So if you're super straight, that means that you do not want to sleep with transsexual people. Is that?
Yeah. Well, okay. So super straight was a backlash to this whole idea about people should be like if you don't want to sleep with someone who's trans, you're transphobic. Like, this is a thing that the trans activists have been pushing. Like, you have to, if you are, If you don't want to sleep with someone who's trans, that means you're a transphobe, right? So what happened is this kid, this like 16-year-old kid, made a TikTok video where he was like, I'm only attracted to cisgendered women. That's it. I'm only attracted to people who are born women, and I'm going to call it super straight. And so in the process, he invented a new sexuality, which it doesn't need to just be straight. Anyone can be a super, Joshua. If you are straight, you might be super straight if you're only attracted to cisgendered people. So we have straight people, like the woman could be attracted to a dude or a trans dude. But if she's super straight, she's only attracted to cisgendered people.
Cis CIS gender. What does that mean exactly?
It means not trans.
Got it. Okay.
Yeah. But you can also be super gay or a super lesbian, or you can be super bisexual, but they didn't put that on the chart because that's just too confusing. But like, if you're super gay, you are only attracted to men who were born biologically male. If you are super lesbian, you are only attracted to women who were born biologically female, as opposed to regular gay and lesbian, which conceivably are required to be attracted to both.
Ah, so, but if you are asexual, what are you? Nothing.
I don't know. That's a good question. I know I know there are people who are actually asexual in the chat. So maybe someone in the chat could answer this question. If you are asexual, what are you? Where do you fall on the straight and or super straight or gay or lesbian spectrum? I'm actually interested in the answer to that question. Nate Early says, I've always felt our little culture's addiction to labels and fitting everyone into little neat boxes to be extremely unhealthy. Yeah. I agree with that. I think it's incredibly unhealthy to put a label just for shits and giggles.
Yeah, I think it's really limiting, and it's really a problem because I mean it can fall in line with other things too. Like, what if I start saying I'm a jerk, and I give myself that label? Well, I'm going to continue to act like a jerk even if I don't want to be a jerk, you know? So I don't know. I think there's a lot going on here. So, but asexual means that you have no sexual attraction to anybody. Is that correct?
Yes.
Okay, but you can be romantic, so you can have a romantic attraction, but not a sexual one. So you can be romantic and asexual.
Yes.
Okay. Do you know that? I mean, and again, like I really do not know any of this, so I am not trying to like offend anyone. But I guess the thing is how is that humanly possible to not have a sexual, like from a natural perspective, like, without talking about, trauma or, just suppressing the sexuality? Like, how is it possible just being like a human being with sexual organs?
I mean, I can understand that. I mean, I'm sure it has something to do with the way their brain developed or something. And I hesitate to call it a disorder. I don't necessarily think it's something people need like treatment for or anything, but I'm sure it has to do with how the brain developed.
But do they MasterCard?
Do they MasterCard?
Yeah, like, do they master?
I don't know.
A lot of asexuals then in your audience, then I think that we should definitely ask, like, do asexuals MasterCard? Like, that is a really good question.
Joshua doesn't mean MasterCard. It was an autocorrect to a text message, and I think you guys can all figure out what he's actually asking.
I'd rather say MasterCard than anything else. Well, I'm curious though, like, will asexual people MasterCard? And if so, to whom or what?
Okay, so Thin White Axe says, I'm asexual and I'm not super anything because I'm not attracted to anyone. Cis or trans doesn't matter. So should we say super, just super? Thin White Axe is just super.
So, but are there...
Wait, we have more answers. As asexual, do the self-pleasuring thing? Yes. It's purely physical though, and don't ask if I do it personally. That's effing rude, Joshua.
I would never be effing rude.
Don't ask if someone MasterCards.
I was asking in general to see if there was maybe a social psychologist in the group, perhaps, who knows these things. I don't know.
No, I'm not a social psychologist. We know that's out.
Okay.
Shannon says, I still think super bi is the most insulting to trans people, but trans people don't seem that worried about it. I don't understand why we just can't like exist in a place where people can sleep with who they want to based on their preferences and shouldn't be pressured into sleeping with people that they don't want to sleep with.
I mean, what's interesting though, the little that I do know about it, so like there are, from what I gathered, there is some very, very like, these men that are extremely masculine, extremely just macho alpha, straight as can be if you saw them on the street. And a lot of these guys will not have sex with a man, but they will have sex with a transgender person, which I think is really very fascinating. So it's almost like maybe because of like the fantasy, but I know that like there are some places that cater to the trans community, and a lot of straight men, I don't know how they would call themselves, but they do have sex with these transsexuals. So it's sort of ironic because these really, really straight guys, you would never, ever, ever see them hooking up with a man, but they're okay with a transgendered individual, which is interesting. I find that really fascinating.
I think that everyone should just relax and do what they want to do and stop worrying so much about what a label might mean for them.
Yeah, and I think that those, I think it's really problematic, people, kids growing up today, because I think parents, in my experience, what's happening a lot with parents is they're so woke that, I know somebody who's like, oh yeah, my kid, he's gay. I'm like, how old is he? Well, he's 12. What? Like, at 12? I mean, how can you, but again, like, I think that what's happening is we're putting all of this emphasis on being woke. So parents are, virtue signaling, I'm totally cool with my kid being gay. When your kid, I mean, he's 12 years old, like, let the kid be a kid, you know what I mean? So
yeah, I
think there's a lot of issues with the labeling. Yeah, I think that's an issue.
I agree. And Thin White Axe says, Josh, I know you weren't being rude. I love answering questions and appreciate your curiosity.
Thank you, Thin White Axe. I would never be rude to you, ever, ever, ever.
All right, let's see. I know we got a couple more super chats on this topic. I just want to pull them up while I have them fresh. Little Flame says, my friend says rarely with her husband they have an open relationship, so she isn't pressured. Okay, that's one way to handle it.
Oh, rarely in terms of MasterCard.
I mean, if it's with her husband, I don't think it would be MasterCard. I think it would be.
Yeah,
I think it would be cash. It would be cash. And Dragon Water says people are complaining that the term sexual preference is discriminatory. I don't know why. Everything is discriminatory. Joshua, I have a video going up on this channel tomorrow that is about, wait for it, evergreen trees being racist.
Evergreen trees?
Yes.
Why?
Trees.
Why though? How can a tree be racist?
Because trees have been used for lynching, and therefore they are racist. Trees.
I mean, I think trees have consciousness, but I would think that like trees, do they have racist consciousness? I don't think so. I think I would look at trees as very pure, that they have like an earthy consciousness.
One would think. Look, I just did a Zen card reading for my locals today, which was someone hugging a tree.
I was gonna say, yeah. You can actually do that. Like trees do have everything has consciousness, but I think trees, I know that this sounds weird, and this is probably going to sound really, really woo-woo, but I do, like, when I go on my runs in the morning, if I'm outside and doing a run, obviously, the different trees, if you're really, like, open, they have different, like, vibrations and, like, in a weird way, different personalities. In fact, I wanted to, at one point, when I was smoking a lot more pot, I wanted to do this show called Talking with Trees, in which I would get really high and I would talk to the tree, and like relay information to people, because trees do have and when you're really like out of it, if you do get high, which I don't much
which you never ever do.
I mean, certainly don't to the point where I'd be talking to trees and putting videos online of it. No. But I do think that like something like that, like different trees do have consciousness and you can connect. And I think that it's good. It's a good thing energetically to connect, you know, your vibration with the tree vibration, because it makes you more pure. It makes you more grounded. It makes you, I think you can get energy from the earth.
I feel like when I'm in Los Angeles whenever I'm coming to Los Angeles, a couple weeks, I feel like we should do a special edition, Nothing Remotely Controversial, where you talk to a tree.
Okay. We'll do Talking with Trees.
Excellent. Yeah. Excellent. Nothing could go wrong with this plan.
I've gotten some really good information from trees. Yeah.
All right. We'll have to figure that out.
I'm very, very earthy, but I'm also hoping that when you come to LA that it's a little bit more like opened up and you get a little bit of like, because LA is really, really cool, which is impossible to prove nowadays. So I'm hoping that things open up. So, you know, there's something fun to do.
To my credit, I have always hated Los Angeles. Even before COVID. I hated Los Angeles before COVID. I probably hate Los Angeles even more now. I
mean, the weather is glorious.
But it's Los Angeles. Can't walk anywhere. The people are fake. There's no authenticity. The entire damn city is fake.
Oh, I mean, see, that's the thing. Like, I'm, you know, from Boston, then New York. But the thing is that there's so many transplants that it's really hard to sort of go by that anymore. Because if somebody's like from New York, and a lot of the people in LA are transplants from like New York or London or Chicago, Boston, like how are they all, what do you assimilate and become fake? Like,
yes, you assimilate and become fake. Absolutely.
Oh,
Absolutely.
I need to be more fake in the mornings at the gym because I'm on a lot of people's shit lists. Like, but I don't think that everybody does. Like, I don't think that I need to be a little bit more fake in the morning. I think, you know.
Well, that's probably true.
Yeah, this area. Yeah. But
all right, let's get into some psychicking, shall we?
Let's do it. All
right.
Put my purple pen away. I'm done taking notes for the time being. We will continue this conversation
after psychicking.
This and Aromanticism, etc.
And supers. Don't forget supers.
Supers.
Whatever super you might be. All right, guys. If this is your first time to Nothing Remotely Controversial, Joshua does psychic some stuff for us about what's going on in the news. We take your super chats, we take your questions, and if you guys don't ask questions, then you're going to be left to whatever I want to talk about. So that might go good or bad. You just don't know. The only ask we have is if you send in a super chat asking Joshua to psychic something, make it a high-level thing about like something that's going on in the world, like will these lockdowns ever really end? Not something that's like personal, like should I move to Los Angeles for reasons I have no idea. And our first super chat for the night comes from Miles, one of my favorite people. He says, hey guys, will the government, federal, state, or city, implement reparations? So I would like to look at this on the federal level, Joshua. Will the federal government implement reparations?
What are reparations?
It's like, it's paying people who are descendants of slaves for the sins of the past.
And who would be giving these reparations again?
The descendants of slaves.
Oh no, I mean, what did he put in parens?
Oh, let me see. He said, so it would come from the government to citizens.
Okay, so the government institute reparations, right?
Yes.
And tell me when to stop shuffling on that.
Stop.
Let's see. I would be really surprised. The interference card comes up. So essentially what this card is about is a lot of people just like a whole bunch of like no's would be like being flowed into the whole argument. With the 7 of cups, I think things are a little bit disorganized, probably because some things might be hard to prove, like who gets what, if you're giving to this person, but this person suffered. And then with Princess of Wands, my feeling is that like separate, like there are some instances that have been like highly publicized. Like there was something in LA in which I forget, I think it may have been Huntington Beach, I'm not sure, but this Black family was essentially pushed out, like 100% just railroaded out of town. So I do think that like there might be instances in which like specific cases, but I think generally overall, no. But I think that with the Princess of Wands, you know, there might be some specific individualized cases in which they are given, if that makes sense.
Well, it does make sense. And it makes sense because there are cities that are starting to institute reparations. Like Evanston, Illinois, which is basically like Chicago. They're doing it. I'm pretty sure there's like a city in the Bay Area that's doing it. So there are these instances where it's going on locally, just not nationally.
Oh, I see. Okay. Yeah.
All right.
Interesting.
All right. Justin White wants to know, hearing rumors that Alberta might start increasing restrictions again. If this happens, will resentment and backlash over these policies increase? So Canada.
Let's see. Will resentment increase? Okay. So what is the, from the top? Okay. Here, this is perfect. Justin. Hi, Justin. Hearing rumors that Alberta might start increasing restrictions again. If this happens, will resentment and backlash over these policies? So will there be backlash against, we're talking like COVID restrictions, right?
Yes.
Oh. Will there be resentment and backlash? And do me a favor, tell me when to stop shuffling on that.
Stop.
Okay. I heard a room. Okay. I don't think that there's anything, like Alberta's headed in a really, really good direction. So I wouldn't look at I don't see anything bad at all happening. I think with 9 of Disc, this is such a beautiful card. I think things are going really well for Alberta. And I think with the Lust card, I get this being very much like, don't ask, don't tell. Like, I'm going to do my own thing. You stay in your court, I'll stay in mine type thing. And then with Queen of Cups, I think there'll be more understanding. So I guess overall, I don't think there's going to be, the restrictions are not going to create a backlash. Speaking of, have you heard of Alex the comic?
No.
Oh, you've got to check him out on Instagram. Yeah.
Oh, yeah?
Yeah, well, he's Canadian. That's why I bring it up for Justin. Because, yeah, he's, I think it's Vancouver, though. So... But he is hysterical. Like the stuff that he does, you know, like he rides around in this van and it says, you know, trust the government and, you know, question nothing. Like he's really hysterical. Alex the comic.
The comic. We'll have to check him out.
Yeah, I'll send you the IG. He's hysterical. I want to meet him so bad.
Well, you know what? I mean, Canada is so bad about these restrictions. Canada's also really bad about restrictions on speech. Like they'll like arrest people for like hate speech. But they're also really bad on COVID restrictions. Like if you fly into Canada and you test positive for COVID or something, you have to pay $1,000 or I don't even know if it's test positive. Like they're picking people up at the airport and essentially making them pay $1,000 out of their own pocket to go to a state-run hotel that they're not allowed to leave.
Wow. Yeah, that's...
So at least your governor isn't going that far. He's not, you're not locking you in a hotel.
Not yet.
Not yet. Well, Multi-Drider says, with COVID surge in Minnesota, will Comrade Walz, I'm going to assume that's the governor, put in another lockdown sometime soon? So is Minnesota going into lockdown again? Serves them right if they do. Minnesota is the cause of all sorts of problems.
And tell me to stop shuffling on that.
Stop.
Will Minnesota go into lockdown again? High Priestess, Lust, the Devil. Not straight away, but it is possible further on down the line.
Oh, no!
I don't like reporting that either. Maybe further on down the line, but I don't think straight away. Yeah.
All right. Well, Justin corrected me on the state-run hotel. It's $2,000 for a state-run hotel where you get stale bread and water, and there's been not so good stuff. We have one like that in Calgary. It's horrible. Yeah, they actually pick people up at the airport in Canada. Lock them away. Those Canadians.
Wow.
The only reason to go to Canada is poutine anyway. And, we can get that in the States now.
I mean, is it as good as it is in Montreal?
Well, it is. I know one place in particular. I just actually had lunch there the other day with a friend, and they have amazing poutine. It's really good. But not all poutine is really good. Some of it kind of sucks.
I know the kind in Montreal is just outrageous. I don't know how they stay so fit because the food, like they're all like extremely good shape, which makes no sense because I don't think the food is better any place than in, well, I haven't been to Rome, but I've been to Paris, etc. But Montreal food is so good. I don't know how they stay in such great shape because the food is like, eating is just such a big thing in Montreal. At least it was. I don't know what it's like now.
Who knows? We will never know. We're never allowed to travel again internationally, Joshua. It's all over. I never even went to Paris. I feel like very deprived.
It's not going to be locked down forever.
I don't know about that. I was supposed to go to China, and Dragon Water will get you your super chat in a second. I was supposed to go to China before all this lockdown crap started to do talks in Beijing and Shanghai, and I was all excited about it. And then COVID happened, and of course the trip got canceled, but they postponed it. And I guess I'm still technically scheduled to go because I haven't told them I'm not going to China, but I'm not going. I'll tell you why. China has implemented, I don't know if I can actually say this on YouTube, a certain kind of testing in which you have to have a swab put somewhere that I'm not going to have a swab put.
I heard about this.
So I am not going. I'm not getting a free trip to China because I'm not. There are lines I will not cross, and that is one of them.
I can't even. I don't understand this. If it's so contagious, why do you have to get a test that way?
I have no idea, but I'm not trying it out. I'll tell you what.
The other test. What I gather, you have to put it like up your nose and like.
I'm not doing that. I would rather do the other one in the other orifice than to have that swab stuck all the way up my nose.
But even the regular test, they like go. It's like. It's crazy. Like if it's so contagious, then why do we have to go like over the river and through the woods, through the body in order to test for it?
I mean, let's be honest. It's probably good that I'm refusing to get tested via anal swab because like I would get arrested in China. I would end up in some Chinese state prison where I'd be like, it wouldn't be good. We all know that would happen. I would never make it out of China alive. My organs would be harvested and sold. Like it would be awful.
There'd be pictures of your anus all over the internet.
Well, we can't have that. We absolutely cannot. That is
not again.
Don't start rumors, Joshua. Did I tell you guys it was going to be a good episode tonight or what? All right, Dragon Water says, will we see healthcare be given out based on race in the next 5 years? So Joshua, fun fact, the governor of my home state, who is a Republican, but not really, has been prioritizing the COVID vaccine based on race. If you are in Vermont and of a certain age or something, and you are a person of color, you are allowed to get the COVID vaccine now. If you are white, you are still barred from getting the COVID vaccine.
I did think though, aren't people of color more vulnerable to the virus though? I think there's a reason why they would do that. Like that's what I heard, that people of color
in Vermont
disproportionately getting infected with COVID versus other people, from what I've gathered.
In Vermont.
I don't know. I mean, I think all over the world. Like I believe that people of color are disproportionately getting infected by COVID versus, for whatever reason, I think they're more vulnerable. Like there are more cases of that for whatever reason.
Joshua, have you ever been to Vermont?
Passing through to go to Montreal, actually.
Was there anything that you noticed about the population of Vermont?
They're quiet. I think that they're subdued. That's really about it.
Did you notice many people who were not white?
No.
No. Not to mention, it's kind of a violation of the Civil Rights Act to dish out medical resources based on race.
Right, but what if there is this disproportion? Because I did hear that from more than one source that disproportionately people of color are more.
Was that based on the color of their skin, or is that based on their socioeconomic status?
I do not know.
Ding, 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 ding. But anyway, Dragonwater wants to know, will we see healthcare be given out based on race in the next 5 years?
Let's see. Will healthcare be given out based on race? And tell me when I should stop shuffling on that.
Stop.
Healthcare given out based on race or mix. Prince of Cups, Prince of Wands, Prince of Swords. No, I don't think based on race. No.
Well, that's good.
Yeah.
People in the chat are talking about how people in Vermont wear lots of plaid. And then someone said Vermont has gone to plaid. Like in Spaceballs. You've seen Spaceballs.
Like literally 20 years ago.
Okay. Well, you need to watch Spaceballs.
Also Mel Brooks, right? With like
yes.
Yeah, that was a hysterical movie. It was Rick Moranis is in it too.
Yes, he is.
He's really great. Well, what about LL Bean? Is that Vermont, or am I getting that confused?
I mean, I think definitely people in Vermont wear LL Bean for sure. Yeah.
Do they have? Are they rich as a state?
Are they rich? I mean, I grew up not rich at all. I grew up in a very small town that did not have a whole lot of money. So, no. I would say no for the most part. I mean, there are definitely wealthy sections of it like everywhere, but I don't think that I do not believe that people of color in Vermont are more susceptible to COVID than the general population. I don't believe they have data to support that. I absolutely don't believe it. No.
Okay.
I could be wrong, but I don't think I am. All right. Jay Russ says, hey guys, will the GOP ever grow a pair and stand up to the left instead of waving the white flag at the drop of a hat, any hat, even if they gotta drop the hat themselves? I think it's a very good question. I just did a video about this today. I was emailing back and forth with a Republican strategist in New Hampshire, and he was like not wanting to call out Maggie Hassan for supporting critical race theory. He's like, well, she hasn't made any public statements supporting it. I was like, I don't care. I don't care. She hasn't talked about it either way.
Wow. So you want to know, like, generally overall, whether or not the GOP, the Republicans
will find their balls.
Okay. Like, so generally, will they find their balls? And when we say find their balls, what do we exactly mean by that? Like standing up for the Republican Party values? Is that
will they ever become fighters like Trump is a fighter?
Oh, got it. Okay.
Does that make sense?
Much more sense, yeah. GOP become fighters like Trump is a fighter. And tell me when to stop shuffling on that.
Stop.
Let's see. Yeah, I do think that there's going to be more of that idealism with the Knight of Cups. So it might be, the problem with the Knight of Cups is that his name is written in water. So it's sort of like, it's not always long lasting. So there will be people, like if you write your name in water, right, it disappears, right? So there will be people that actually do stand up and grow a pair, so to speak, but it might be one of those things that are sort of vacillating or changeable. But with the Lust card and the Lovers, I think there's going to be you're going to get some fiery candidates in office, I think. That are very much aligned with the Trump. But before then, I do think that you're going to get a lot of like people that are a little wishy-washy, essentially.
Good. I hope that that's true.
Yeah.
So people in the chat were talking about how LL Bean is from Maine. Guys, I know LL Bean is Maine, but lots of people in Vermont wear LL Bean. That was the question I was answering. Do people in Vermont wear LL Bean? Plaid is not exclusive to Vermont, but people in Vermont wear plaid.
Okay, yeah, that's right. Okay, so I knew it was in New England. I knew it was in New England state, the LL Bean thing. Yeah.
All right, Amber, this is a good question, Joshua. This is a good uplifting question. Well, depending on your answer, it might not be a good uplifting question. Will we have a mass spiritual awakening soon? Will more people become aware spiritually and realize the connection we have to each other and the planet?
Oh, Amber.
That's a good question.
Yeah. Kumbaya, my lord. Let's see. Mass awakening soon. Will people become more spiritually? And tell me when to stop shuffling.
Stop.
Yeah, I think so. So you got the two of discs. So this is law of opposites, right? You can't have order without chaos. You can't have all of this woke stuff, for instance, without there being like the opposite of that. People retaliating. Like that's what's going to happen. That's the problem, I think, with the woke stuff, because the other stuff that's the opposite of that can be a little bit scary, right? So with the we have balance in the world. You can't have order without chaos. You can't have night without dark. So yes, there will be a return to like that sense of pleasure and just feeling like our natural intrinsic connection with each other. And there will be a lot of happiness, but it's not going to be everyone, right? Like what's really interesting is the more you like grow spiritually, the more you see all the good in the world, but the balance of that is you also get a glimpse of all the bad. Do you know what I mean?
God, ain't it the truth? Yeah.
So I do think that there will be stuff. Just whatever you focus your attention on grows. So don't let anything in terms of the opposite of that get you down. Just determine where you want to put your attention.
I found that the more I got into like understanding and fighting the woke stuff, like I had to balance that out with doing more like meditation or like doing more like with art or with knitting. Like it was not sustainable until I started like focusing on other things.
Yeah, and I think that especially you with your you have a Libra rising, so you're this natural balancer. But I think for really all of us, we all have to really look at how we are creating balance in our lives. You know what I mean? So I think that's a really good idea, just to always find that balance, especially now because we're under the Libra full moon cycle. So this is the time to balance. Definitely.
Good. Because I'm also getting lots of nice new art for my office. I'm going to have a whole new display. I'm very excited about it.
That is exciting.
To make things nice and zen, even as I'm dealing with madness.
Yes.
Godar Bazaar says, will Indiana get a populist governor after our rhino leaves office?
Let's see. And I'm going to stop shuffling on that.
Stop.
Strength. Death. I wouldn't hold your breath.
No.
I'm sorry. I just report the news. We have death. We have disappointment. So, yeah. What can you do? 2 tears in a bucket. You can fill in the blank.
Oh. I feel like we answered this question last week. Multi-Drider says, will Dr. Phil get canceled? Did we answer this question last week?
The answer is sadly no, unless he comes up with some scandal, which would be, I doubt that.
Euphoric break. Okay, this is one of those ones where we have to say, Joshua is a psychic. He is not giving financial advice. He is a psychic.
Or legal advice, or medical advice, or advice on how to cut your toenails.
It's for entertainment purposes only, YouTube.
Clearly.
And everyone watching. Euphoric Break says, will those of us who own at least half a Bitcoin become millionaires in the next 2 years? I like this question because I may own close to half of a Bitcoin.
Those of us who own at least half of Bitcoin. And so I'm going to stop shuffling on that.
Stop.
Next 2 years. I wouldn't say so.
Yeah, I thought that was a bit much for half of a Bitcoin.
What's what's half of a Bitcoin?
It's crypto. So Bitcoin is I think it's getting close to like 60,000. So it's $60,000 for like one bit. Like cryptocurrency is like a commodity, right? It's like gold, except it's like cryptocurrency. And so Bitcoin has been going steadily up, and I think it's almost at $60,000 for like one Bitcoin. So that's basically what they're asking. Will it keep going up?
Okay.
But there's other cryptocurrency. We've done some crypto. I'm actually doing very well with Ethereum right now. I'm very happy with my Ethereum. All right. D Show says, Carlin, I highly recommend the Chicks on the Right channel to anyone interested. They have Prince Harry's balls in a tiny, tiny jar. LOL. They are authentic and so hilarious. I actually like Chicks on the Right. I agree with that recommendation. Thank you. Let's see. Oh no. Hang on. Okay. I'm trying to get back to the super chat so I can show them on the screen. It's a little bit, it's unruly in StreamYard. Okay. Justin White says, this might be too local, but my ward counselor, Jeremiah Farakis, is running for mayor. He's been good at standing up for rights, and I wanted to know if we'll get someone good to replace him. I'm very worried.
Okay. So will somebody replace his ward counselor?
Yes. Oh. Will someone good replace his ward counselor?
Oh, got it. Let's see. And so I'm going to stop shuffling on that.
Stop.
Let's see. I think so. Yeah, I do. I do think so. I think that it'll probably, there are two earthy guys here, so it could be one of them. One is younger, junior, the other is more experienced. But whoever gets in there, it's going to be somebody who's very, very earthy. And with the Magician card, I think you'll like the way that they're taking things. So I would say that there's good hope, Justin.
Excellent. Here's a fun question. Will I become a spiritual guru?
Ooh, that is a fun question. Let's see. Well, would you say you are in some respects now already, or no, not at all?
I don't know. Would you say I'm a spiritual guru?
I don't say that you market yourself as one, but I think that, you teach values. So that's interesting. But let's just see by the wording of that. Will Carlin become spiritual? And I'm going to stop shuffling on that.
Stop.
Let's see. I don't think it's out of the question.
I'm going to be a spiritual guru?
Well, again, like these are you have three cards that are like completely Uranian and up in the air. First, you get the Star card, which is sort of like, it's the unpredictable. It's about the future, really far out there, the Star, right? Then you have Prince of Swords, and Prince of Swords is another Uranian card, which is very much about, like, every idea is just as good as the next idea. So it's sort of like, okay, we can have pizza, we can have Thai food. Okay, you want to have beef, you want to have chicken, whatever. It's like every idea is just as good as the next idea. But if you hop on that idea of like, okay, hot dogs and French toast, you make that your reality. Do you know what I'm saying? So like there's a lot of different possibilities. One of them could be spiritual guru, and the Fool card, I think anything goes. I think that's the cool nature of your career that you have that ability to go wherever it is that you want to go. So I think if you're looking for something that's lighter, then yes, I would definitely say that is the way for you to go. But if you want something that's more grounds you or more sort of connects you to the earth, that probably wouldn't be what you do.
So I don't know if I don't know that I would say I would want to become I don't think I would want to become a spiritual guru, because I think that there are so many, frankly, like really inauthentic people who gravitate towards spirituality. And it's like an ego thing for a lot of them. And I find a lot of them very annoying.
I wouldn't call myself a spiritual guru. I mean, I imagine that some people see me as such, but that's not my self-perception. Do you know what I mean?
Well, and then we have spiritual gurus like Osho, whose Zen deck we both really like, but who was like a total narcissist. Like the dude owned like 99 Rolls Royces or something. It was crazy.
There's nothing wrong with that.
There's a whole documentary about him on Netflix that I tried to get you to watch, and you didn't watch it.
Oh, is this the yoga guy? No.
No, not the yoga guy. No, Osho. You know who Osho is. Osho.
Oh, I don't know. I know the tarot deck, but I don't know who.
You would know if you saw him. I bet you.
I saw them. Okay.
You gotta watch the documentary on Netflix. I haven't given up on that.
Thing is just, I think, strange. I mean, I can understand.
I agree.
And I don't. It's so interesting though. But I never put myself in that category. It just feels odd. You know what I mean?
Yeah, I think it's weird. I think it's like why I don't really like organized religion, because I think it's all about power and control. And I think that at some point, anyone who labels himself a spiritual guru, like, it gets very controlling with the audience. It really does.
Yeah, I think so. I think that that's a slippery slope, you know? Yeah.
Yeah. All right. Crazy Princess says, are we doomed to live in an Orwellian world? Will the world become 1984, Joshua?
Let's see. And tell me when to stop shuffling on that.
Stop.
No, but I do think that there will be power struggles, to get, not pushing us to that point, but I think that there will be an overstepping of, I think, authority. So that doesn't mean that it's going to become Orwellian, but I do think that there is going to be like a standoff. So I think in some respects, again, it's sort of like, all this Aquarius energy with Jupiter and Saturn, and then you have the Capricorn energy that we're just getting out of. I do think that, we've already seen it. Our freedoms are definitely being transpassed. What's the word? Transpressed? What's the word, Carlin? Trespassed.
Trespassed.
Thank you. Trespassed. So, I do think that there will be more overreach. Yeah. So, but yeah, in the, I don't think it's going to get to that point, but I think that we have to remain vigilant, to make sure that, that there's a balance going on here, and that there's open dialogue, and that we're always using our voices to express our concerns, All
right. Well, fair enough. AJ Star Hiker, thank you for the super sticker. We appreciate that. We got a couple more questions. Let's see. Right as Rain says, will school choice and homeschooling become more available nationwide?
Will school choice and homeschooling become more available nationwide? And so I'm going to stop shuffling on that.
Stop.
Let's see. I think the education system is definitely going through this like rebirth. I think it's going to be really, really interesting. Not that it's going to divide. I don't want to say it's going to divide the country, but you do have like the Prince of Wands energy, and you get the Prince of Cups, and then the completion. So I do think that there is this completion around schooling, in that there's like two different camps and different sides that are both going to achieve their aims, but in different ways. So I do think that it will become more available. And I do think that it's going to be more, I want to say not standardized, but perhaps the word is standardized, the homeschooling system. Because I think a lot of parents might do it, but it's sort of like, they might not have the education. They might not think that they have the ability to, stuff like that. And also there probably will be instances, if they're going to standardize it, to ensure that there's that social activity that also goes along with it. You know what I mean? I think that
that makes a lot of sense.
Yeah, it's going to be going through like this. It's like a death. So like the homeschooling that's going on today, perhaps, or even yesterday, like that's going through a metamorphosis, and I think it's going to evolve and get bigger to quell the concerns of people who are on the other side of like traditional schooling. Yeah,
I think that makes a ton. I think that. No, it is. I think that makes a ton of sense. That's a really good prediction.
Mm-hmm. Really
All
exciting.
right. Cindy Chastain says, this is an interesting development. So Biden on day one stopped construction on Trump's wall, right? And now he's started it up again. So Biden is literally finishing the wall.
Why? Isn't that against everything that the Democrats believe in?
Well, part of the reason is they had already signed contracts, and you can't just like renege on a contract just because someone else takes the job.
You mean like the construction workers who were putting up?
Yeah. They'd already signed contracts, so they didn't figure that out. But I mean, so Cindy wants to know, will Biden finish Trump's wall and try to take credit for it?
Let's see. And tell me to stop shuffling on that.
Stop.
Let's see. Change, Ace of Swords, the Hermit. No, I think he's going to probably be very quiet about it, actually.
That makes sense.
Yeah.
All right, guys, we got 2 questions left. I'm going to save the second to last one to last because it's the most fun. Oh, God, Justin White just got another one in there. Okay, Justin White says, can't renege on a contract, Keystone XL pipeline. Yeah, that's what it is. We got 2 questions left. We're gonna do the other one last because it's more fun. Alexandra Martin says, hey, guys, I'm scared to know the answer to this, but I'm sure hoping it's no, but will Gretchen Whitmer get reelected in 2022? Thank you both for making my Tuesday much less boring. Gretchen Whitmer is the governor of Michigan, who is a psycho. And, will she get reelected?
And tell me to stop shuffling on that.
Stop.
Yeah. Doesn't look brilliant.
So good. We don't like her. We don't want her to get reelected.
No. I know. It doesn't look brilliant that she might not get.
Oh.
Yeah. She does have this. Is she capable of getting pregnant?
Yes, she is capable. Well, in theory. Actually, she might be too old. I don't know.
Because the Emperor shows up for her. So I was asking about the way I phrased it was like, what's her fate? Blah, blah, blah. But it looks like with the Empress is usually very, very positive. So something new is going to be born for her. But I asked about her fate in terms of election. So right now it is looking good. I'm sorry.
Boo. All right. This last question is a fun one. I think, Joshua, you're going to appreciate this one. Will disco make a comeback?
And the world is transgressed. Thank you, Dragon Water.
I think you meant trespassed, but okay.
I don't know. My vocabulary has seen better days.
It's not like you have a master's degree in writing or anything.
Will disco make a comeback? Hey, Monero! Let's see. Will disco make a comeback? And I'm going to stop shuffling.
Stop.
Lovers, Knight of Discs.
Yes? You think Disco's going to make a comeback?
I think so.
Are you excited?
I'm very excited. I'll get my bell bottoms out. And yeah, absolutely. So the Lovers card is about dialogue, debate, and choice, and also just communications. Knight of Discs, really, I think positive. Like there's a groundedness to that. And with the world, the new makes itself in by disguising itself as the old, right? So with like the world cards, like cycles repeating, and I mean, I love the idea of disco coming back, but I hope the 80s come back. Like that's what I would like. I'd like 80s. Like
I can't do 80s. I can't do shoulder pads.
Yes, you can.
No.
You can do shoulder pads and like really, really colorful stuff, and like everything's big in the 80s.
I have a perfect 80s shawl. You want to see my 80s shawl?
Yeah.
Right behind me.
Oh, that's perfect. Yeah. That's very like, yeah. Very
it's a weird shape. It's very 80s.
Yeah. I like the idea. I love that. I love the colors of the 80s, the music of the 80s, the movies of the 80s, the greed of the 80s. I'm just kidding. But yeah. But I think disco's probably going to come back. It probably has a better shot.
All right. Well, you heard it here first, folks. Find your bell bottoms. All right. That's all we have the time for tonight. Thank you for spending some time with us. Joshua and I will be back next Tuesday at 9:30, which will be the day after my birthday. Yes, it will be the day after my 12th, 29th birthday, not 11th, because I also had the original 29th birthday as well. So the day after my 12th, 29th birthday. And Joshua, we're going to talk about my astrological chart next time.
Yeah, we can talk about absolutely that, or your solar chart, whatever you wish. It will be your birthday month.
All right, my birthday month, all about me. Mm-hmm. All right, guys, every Tuesday night at 9:30. If you want to connect with Joshua offline to get your cards read or get an astrology chart or all the many things that Joshua does, his information is in the description below. And also, please subscribe to his YouTube channel where he posts astrological predictions and stuff about asses.
With asses.
Yes, with asses. With many less asses now that I've had my intervention.
Yes.
All right, guys. Have a good one. We'll see you next week. Bye.
Bye.